Hundreds of track and field athletes gathered at Cardinal Stadium for the annual Twilight Classic. We have the rundown.
Could your online shopping have harmful effects on the environment? We take a closer look.
Plus, how some DHA students are helping the climate by raising salmon. DTV News starts right now.
Online shopping is a convenience used all over the world, but what's the cost when it comes to our environment? Good afternoon, Davison.
For the next few newscasts, DTV will be premiering our environmental stories that we have been working on all year in collaboration with PBS Nova Science Studio. Today, we take a deeper look into packaging waste.
Online shopping has boomed in popularity over the past 30 years, but it's not the shopping that's the problem. It's all of the extra packaging we get with it.
It usually comes in like a box and another box, like something wrapped up in it, and sometimes it's not necessary, like 4 boxes for one pair of shoes.
A survey from Pew Research Center found that nearly 80% of Americans shop online. With all this shopping, packaging waste from materials such as cardboard, plastics, and styrofoam have become harder to recycle since it's now delivered to individual homes as opposed to being one big shipment to the store. A study from World Economic Forum explains that only 16% of plastic actually makes it into the recycling plant. The other 84% that does not make it into the plants has a possibility to end up in our rivers and oceans. Once plastic is dumped into the water, it releases greenhouse gases as it slowly breaks down, which send more carbon emissions into our air. Not only does the plastic release greenhouse gases contributing to climate change, but so do the delivery trucks for all these packages. Rafael Oras is a professor at MSU School of Packaging and is working on the issue of packaging that cannot be biodegradable.
When the waste go to the houses, it's a little more challenge because you need to have all those communities now collecting those materials. And if we have communities in Michigan, for example, that do not have the collection, then the material will not be recovered.
A study from Sustainable Packaging Coalition says that roughly 60% of U.S. citizens have access to curbside recycling. But when packages are sent to your home, it often ends up here on the side of the road or just sitting in landfills. The transportation of goods and the materials used to package them both contribute to climate change. And this is accelerated when the excess waste is left in places where it shouldn't be. Raphael and many students at MSU have researched ways to degrade materials in a more efficient way to lower the amount of plastic left behind in the environment with a compost process using heat and soil.
In these jars we have a compost soil, and we introduce the materials inside, and then that material, we introduce air, and then look how the material will degrade in function of time by simulating that process that happens in industrial composting operation.
The jars that Raphael is showing us are mini compost environments. Raphael's lab is studying how to develop paper products that can be used and degraded more efficiently than single-use plastics.
And the samples will come into the device, we connect it here, and with that we actually collected then the CO2 evolution that will happen with the degradation of the material inside, and we have a system to measure that concentration in function of time and can calculate the degradation of the sample through the period that is doing the degradation process.
MSU researchers say that they could be the future providers of alternate packaging solutions. The researchers hope to identify packaging materials that can be reused and degraded without carbon emissions. Just 4 miles west from the MSU Research Lab, a local business is finding another way to reduce excess packaging. Alexa Hexel, the owner of Clean Refillery in Lansing, Michigan, is eliminating excess packaging by changing the way people shop.
So we're an eco-friendly refill store. That means that customers can bring their containers into our shop and refill home and personal care items that are a little more difficult to find with reduced packaging.
Clean Refillery also cuts down on carbon emissions of transporting products by sourcing some products from communities just a few miles away.
So a lot of these are Michigan-made products. I make the toilet cleaning bombs here in shop. These bar soaps are made right across the street at Soulful Earth. Laundry detergent is made over in Hazlitt by Fresh Coast Clean. We work really hard to work with local people because when we keep it closer to home, then it's shipping things. You don't have people driving as far and you like using fossil fuels.
When Alexa has the materials shipped from close locations, she is using a process of circular economy. Circular economy is an economic system based on the reuse and regeneration of materials or products from areas where it isn't too far. Shipping materials can be recyclable, but most are not. A study from Environmental Protection Agency found that containers and packaging make up a major proportion of municipal solid waste, amounting to 82.2 million tons of generation in 2018. Alexa hopes she can help pump the brakes on large corporations' excess packaging and make a difference in fighting climate change.
We're showing corporations and big businesses, this is the stuff we want to see. So I'm helping customers to vote with their dollar. So they're showing the big companies where the money is and the changes that they want to see.
The Environmental Club, along with several other students here at DHS, released fish into the Flint River. Mr. Kelsey and the students have been raising the salmon right here in the high school since September. The fish release is part of a statewide program called Salmon in the Classroom. One of the goals is to help restore a thriving salmon population in Michigan rivers. The bittersweet moment left some students proud of their hard work.
It's really cool to watch them grow up from like their little small cells to like now there's a few that are like only this big. It's really cool.
Not only has the Environmental Club raised fish, but they've also been working all year on a garden right here on campus. On the east side of the building, Mr. Kelsey and the students participating work together to bring a garden to life, for not only them to enjoy, but everyone here at DHS. The garden includes native plants, potatoes, rhubarb, basil, tomatoes, and raspberries, to name a few. This project taught students how to be more mindful of their environment and how to treat a garden properly.
Right directly behind me we have the vegetable garden, and the plan is just to teach kids about growing their own food, eating healthy foods.
What a great resource here at DHS. It's the moment many have been waiting for. Student council results are in. Here are your officers for your future senior class. Abby Garach is treasurer, Joshua Beller is vice president, and Trinity Campbell is your president. Officers for future junior class are Enzra Larzan as treasurer, Nadia Belmore as secretary, and Deshaun Grace as vice president, and DTV's own Cooper Austin won class president. And ending off with the future sophomores, Isabella Chorley is treasurer, Maria Buffa is your vice president, and Hannah Kittle is class president. Another big event students voted on was next year's homecoming. Hollywood theme is the winner. Great job to all the participants in this election, and thank you to everyone who used their voice and voted.
Seniors, there are a lot of things coming up before you say your goodbyes. Friday, May 12th, all library books are due. Also on May 12th is Decision Day. Make sure to dress up in your college gear to show off the school you picked. And for the senior slideshow, if you want to send in any pictures, you must do so by May 12th. They can be in any school-appropriate pictures of you and your friends from elementary school and onward. Just email DHS2023slideshow@gmail.com to send them in. On your last day, Thursday, May 25th, if you need to ride a bus home after the senior walk, you need to sign up in the front office by this Friday.
Once the seniors do leave, there will be plenty of open parking spots on campus. Any juniors or sophomores waiting for a spot, make sure to get on that waiting list before the seniors are gone. Pick up the yellow form from the front office, then turn it in along with your driver's license and Michigan vehicle registration. The cost is $20. Coming up, the boys lacrosse team is on fire. Shane has a look at their standings this season in sports.
And the summer temps that many Michiganders have been waiting for are lingering into our mitten. Max has your forecast.
Our world is under pressure from the ever-changing climate.
About 2% of the Great.
It's changing the way we live and even the way we interact with our environment.
Home, it often ends up here on the side of the road.
DTV, along with PBS Nova Science Studio and WKAR, set out to educate student reporters about climate change. Over the next few weeks, DTV will premiere our year-long project telling the stories of people on the front lines who are dealing with the effects of a changing environment, struggling to maintain their way of life.
As you can tell, it would be really hard.
And fighting to change the way we interact with our world.
I got Jimmy Collins on the slam.
28 teams showed up to Cardinal Stadium with a mission on Friday for the 14th annual Twilight Classic Invitational. It was a long 6 hours, but a huge success. Davison boys came out on top and were crowned champions of the meet. Two school records were set in the 4x100 and 4x200 with Logan Honeycutt, Javion Johnson, Braylon Naves, and Henry Karstarfen III. Even other competing teams set their own school records at Cardinal Stadium. Several Davison athletes also made new personal records, 38 PRs to be exact. The Davison girls got 6th place out of 9 teams and had a total of 55 points. Congrats to everyone involved and great job to the Davison boys for taking home the dub with a final of 102 points. The Davison boys lacrosse team took the field against Rochester Adams earlier this week, looking to avenge last year's shutout loss to the Highlanders. Sawyer Jones starts with the ball and quickly gets around the defense for an easy bounce shot into the back of the net. After Sawyer's easy goal, senior Evan Hahn has to do a little more work as he weaves through 2 defenders and puts it past the goalie stake to take a 2-1 lead. The Highlanders aren't going to let the lead get into their head, so Justin Guddy waits for the cutter and drops a dime in front of the goal for his teammate to pop it into the net. Rochester Adams won 11-5 against the hometown Cards as Davidson dropped 3 in a row. The baseball team balled out on senior night. The Cards faced off at home against the Carman Ainsworth Cavaliers, looking to keep momentum on their side heading into playoffs. Senior Dylan Killian started on the mound for the Cardinals and did not disappoint, striking out 3 batters in the first while only allowing 1 hit. Bottom of the first, and Gavin Resterhouse was pitching for the Cavs when Davidson takes off, putting 7 on the board for the Cards. The Cards did not let off the gas, keeping Carman scoreless in the first game 15-0 and sweeping the series with the second win 16-1. The next game will be tomorrow at the same time and same place, this time against Bertrand. Let's get right into the rest of this week's upcoming sports. Starting today at 4, girls tennis, baseball, and softball will all be facing off with SVL opponents. The tennis team will be in Midland for SVL finals, while both baseball and softball teams will be facing off against Saginaw Heritage. The softball team will be at home, while the baseball squad will be in Hawks territory. Later at 6, the girls lacrosse team will be in Atwood facing off with the Powers Catholic Chargers. Then an hour later, the guys lacrosse team will be at the middle school field to take on the Oxford Wildcats. Good luck to all teams competing. Hey Maddox, how is the weather looking for the SVL teams competing this week?
Chayton, the weather is looking sunny and warm, but it will have its ups and downs. Good afternoon, Davison. Let's get to your 4-day forecast. So today, we start off at a relatively comfortable 73 degrees with a low dropping down to 45 degrees with more sunny skies. And as in tomorrow's going to be the only day with clouds in the sky, really, with some partly cloudy skies and a temperature rising to almost 80 degrees. But that low of 37 will precursor into Wednesday as we drop nearly 15 degrees to a low of 61 and a low of 35, but we still continue that sunny streak of weather. Now, as we take a look into our radar, we can see over the state of Michigan, our beautiful mitten has no precipitation on it. So we are looking for somewhat of a cloudless, beautiful day outside. And speaking of outside, our current temperature is 64 degrees right now with the wind blowing out of the northeast at 5 miles per hour with kind of a hazy sky, but I'm sure that will not ruin the day that this is going to turn out to be. That's it for me on weather today. I'll toss it back to the desk.
Stay up to date on everything happening in your community by staying at DTV's Corner of the Internet. For more stories and live events, head to our YouTube page at DTV News. You can even find event highlights and community events on our Facebook page, also at DTV News. Or check out our Twitter page at DTV_official. For a list of all of our social media pages, go to our website at dtvnews.org.
Our lead story today was packaging waste, which is really a smaller part of a bigger project about all these NOVA projects, about how climate change is affecting us. And my favorite part about this was really how we're meeting all these cool people with these interesting jobs. I think that's really cool.
My favorite part kind of bounces off of that as well. I also love the places that we went for some of these meets. Like one of mine was Traverse City, and it was just really scenic and beautiful up there. But again, kind of basing off of you, just learning about these scientists' lives a little bit.
I love seeing how people were going and traveling and figuring out why everything is affecting them and seeing how people are feeling about all this environment problems that are happening.
You know, going off what Maddox said, I love the places we went. East Lansing is absolutely beautiful, so it's so nice to get to go there, meet the people there, you know, hear about them, because obviously it's affecting a lot of people, and we heard all their stories, and it was really nice to hear. That's all we got today, Davison. We'll see you tomorrow.